what's going on, everybody? It's Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. I appreciate you guys for tapping into another Akem'S analysis. It was a phenomenal Week 11 in FCS football. Montana knows sports, and now every game hits harder with Sportsbet Montana. The only place to bet right here in state, whether you're repping the Grizz, rolling with the Bobcats, or tracking every drive on Sunday. You've got a seat at the action. Head to your local bar or casino, grab a ticket, and lock in your favorite bets. Spreads, over-unders, and those game-changing parlays. It's always right here in Montana's exclusive sportsbook, Sportsbet Montana. Your game, your bets, your state. Powered by the Montana Lottery. It was a phenomenal week in Week 11. Montana got the victory against Eastern Washington. I recapped that game with Keenan Kern, so go check that video out. Montana State got the big-time victory against Weber State, and I put 16 on here. It wasn't 16. It was 66 points is what they put up. So we'll talk about that game first. And then we got UC Davis versus Idaho. UC Davis was able to outlast the Vandals, although Joshua Wood and the Vandals try to put a comeback in the second half. So we'll talk about that game. North Dakota State versus North Dakota. My goodness. Grind it out. Defensive battle. We will get into that one. South Dakota State continues to fall. 3 straight weeks now they've took an L. We'll talk about what that means for the Jackrabbits. And then the final big game we'll talk about before we get to no huddle notes is Mercer versus Western Carolina. Teron Dickens. My goodness. My goodness. We'll talk about that. That boy's a Walter Payton Award finalist. And then we'll get into some no huddle notes. So stay tuned in for the no huddle notes. There were some exciting games, some upsets that took place. And then obviously playoffs are getting closer and closer, man. We're 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday. And man, the field couldn't be thicker. You look at the CAA, they got a lot of 6-7 win teams in the CAA with 2 weeks left to go. You look at the Southland, there's a scenario where the Southland may have a 3-way tie. And I don't know who would get the automatic qualifying bid in that scenario. I don't know what their tiebreaker is. But then in that scenario, would all 3 Southland teams make the play? I mean, hey, and then the UAC, they're probably looking like a 1, maybe 2 bid league. SoCon is looking like a 1 big league with the loss to Western Carolina. The Pioneer, does St. Thomas deserve a seat at the table? They beat Drake, but Drake still is 5-1. I mean, hey, we'll talk about it all. Make sure you guys hit the like. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys leave me a comment down below, and we will get straight into it. Okay. First thing I want to do in today's episode is I want to talk about Montana State versus Weber State. Them boys were dominant. 4 turnovers, 28 points off those 4 turnovers. Justin Lampton wasn't asked to do a lot. Julius Davis looked really, really good. The offensive line has continued to look good. They got the big time dub yesterday. Statistically, Justin Lampton was 12 for 16, 75% completion. He had 117 yards passing and 2 passing touchdowns. Then he had 9 carries, 31 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, so still providing 4 touchdowns for that offense. Julius Davis had 10 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11.4 yards a carry, a long 52-yard touchdown on a beautifully blocked inside zone run. I mean, this team looks really, really good. Montana State is playing the best defense in the country. I mean, I just don't have any other better words to say about this Montana State team right now. They look really, really good. Montana State absolutely rolled Weber State on both sides of the ball. Weber State played an extremely sloppy game. They had 4 turnovers that turned into 28 points for Montana State. Montana State had 450 yards of offense and probably would have had more had they not had so many short fields due to the turnovers. I mean, this team is absolutely humming. We'll talk about the UC Davis game on Thursday when we talk about the preview, but obviously that is the biggest test for this Montana State defense. The biggest test that they will have seen up to this point in the season. I cannot wait to see how they perform in that game, but that is really the where everybody's mind is going to be at. Weber State played 2 quarterbacks and both managed to throw an interception. Montana State has looked like the best team in the Big Sky, and they have consistently dominated lesser competition. And I know the conversation is always, around this time of year, it's always about Montana and Montana State. I have been leaning on the Montana State team, and I've been saying that I think this Montana State team is the best team in the Big Sky. I think at this point in the season, they're the second best team in the country behind North Dakota State. And I don't even know if I would definitively say that North Dakota State is better than Montana State right now, because what I've been seeing from Montana State, mainly on the defensive side of things, as well as what Justin Lampson has been able to show week in and week out, I mean, they just look so freaking good, man. I don't know how you can watch this Montana State team and, 1, not say they're the best team in the Big Sky Conference, but 2, also not say that, how are they not considered the best team in the country. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that there's a team right now that is playing better football than Montana State. And obviously, there's ups and downs within the season. Obviously, North Dakota State, I was saying a couple of weeks ago that North Dakota State was the definitive favorite to win the Natty, and, you know, I didn't really see anybody who could be able to beat them. The tides have started to turn a little bit. And, you know, I think if you put this Montana State team with the North Dakota State team on a neutral field, I don't know. I may give North Dakota State a slight edge, I'd say they're favored by 1.5 at most. Like, it's a pick 'em for me. It's a pick 'em for me because I really, really like what I've seen from this Montana State team. Another thing I wanted to bring up, Rocky Lencioni had one catch yesterday, a 4-yard touchdown catch. But I just want to point out, he's a freshman, and the way they've been using him, his development this season has been phenomenal, man. Like, the way they have developed some of their younger talent. I mean, Taco Dowler, the way he's been developed. I'm going blank. Julius Davis, the way he's been developed. Adam Jones, the way he's been developed. Caden Dowler, the way he's been developed. Hunter Parsons. I mean, so many pieces on the defensive side of things. Kenneth Iden, the way he's Zach Cruz. I mean, I could go on and on. The list is very, very long. But the development of their young talent at Montana State has been phenomenal. Rocky Lencioni is the most recent example of that. His development has been great within this offense, and his usage has been phenomenal. I know he only had one catch for 4 yards and a touchdown, but he has continued to make plays as a young player in this offense. Being able to develop young talent is important for teams who want to win at a high level. Montana State is literally only trying to win a Big Sky championship and a national championship. Anything else is a failure at this point. I mean, they're that good. That's where they are. And the ability to be able to develop the young talent, because obviously getting raw players at a school like Montana State, UC Davis, some of the top tier schools in the Big Sky Conference, you're going to get players that have talent, but also at times you're going to get players that need to be developed. You see the raw talent, you see the size, you see the speed, you see the agility, you see the explosion, but it's like, that is good and great, but you still need a strength and conditioning coach to get them to where they need to be at. You still need a position coach that can develop them and teach them the game the way they need to know the game. You still need a head coach who can give them the confidence to know that they can go out on the field and execute at a high level. I mean, all of it has to come together, and Montana State has had it really, really. They've had it this year. My next question about this Montana State team and about this Montana State defense. I think Caden Dowler is the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year. My question is, if it's not Caden Dowler, who is it? I believe that Defensive Player of the Year person is on this Montana State defense, but my question is, who is that? Is it Paul Brott? Is it Kenneth Iden? Is it Hunter Parsons? And I got some numbers that I'm going to read off, so I want you guys to pay attention, but this defense is really good. But who is it? So Caden Dowler's stats are obviously are to me the best on this Montana State defense. Nobody statistically really stands out. I mean, there's some leaders in TFLs on the team, but the most sacks. I mean, this team only has 14 sacks, which is 10th in the Big Sky Conference, which is crazy to say. The most sacks a person on their defense has is 2.5. So that's why I'm questioning, who is the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Sky Conference? I believe that person is on the Montana State defense, but I'm just questioning who it is. I think it's Caden Dowler. 60 total tackles on the season. That leads the team. 36 solo. I think that might be one of the tops on the team as well. He's got 4.5 tackles for loss. He's got a sack. He's got a forced fumble, and he's got an interception. I mean, statistically, he really is the leader of that unit. He's played really well. Caden Dowler has played really well. I don't want to say he's played the best. I believe he's been consistently the best player on this defense, but he's played. I mean, you can't deny that he's had a really, really good year. And if it's not Caden Dowler, I know I already said this, but I want to read it. And if it's not Caden Dowler, who? And is the player on the MSU defense? I believe they are. Caden Dowler is probably one of the most productive players on this defense. But I mean, I just don't know why. I mean, the production is very spread out on this Montana State defense. There's no one, like I said, there's no one player that stands out statistically outside of really Caden McDowler, in my opinion, or Caden Dowler, in my opinion. There aren't necessarily any players on this defense who are tearing it up statistically. The leader in sacks has 2.5, and the team, they have 14 sacks, which ranks 10th in the Big Sky Conference. I mentioned that. Caden Dowler is the leading tackler with 60 total. Hunter Parsons leads the team in TFLs with 7.5. Iden and Cole Taylor both have 6.5. Nobody on this team has more than one interception. I mean, you just look at the numbers. They play really good football. JT Walkoff. Let's go! Jonathan Taylor. 40, almost 50 points. I'm so sorry. I know we're recapping Montana State. I just got the notification. Jonathan Taylor is on my fantasy team. That boy got 45, 46, 47, almost 50 points. I'm playing against him in one league, but I got him in the other league. My goodness. That's what happens when you play fantasy. Either way, nobody, I mean, statistically, there's no player that really stands out to you. I think they've done a really good job of rotating some of their starters with some of their backups and, getting a lot of time. And that's another thing about this defense. The reason that statistically they aren't really as high as a lot of other teams is you think about the games that they played. How many full games has this defense played? They played a full game against South Dakota State. I don't even think they played a full game against Oregon. I mean, you think about some of their other games. Idaho State, they didn't play a full game. Eastern Washington, they didn't play a full game. Weber State, they didn't play a full game. Did they play Northern Colorado? Northern Colorado, I don't think they played a full game. I mean, you haven't seen a full game out of this defense, so statistically, it's impossible for them to be up there in the stats. But I think if they would have played a full games, I think Caden Dowler would probably be the leader of that defense. I see him as one of the leaders of that defense. I think he's the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comments. Although they don't dominate on the stat sheet, this MSU defense has been extremely effective in what they do. Since week 2, no team has scored more than 17 points on this MSU defense. Phenomenal. Also, since week 2, the MSU offense is averaging 44 points a game, which is astronomical. I mean, this team is looking really, really good, man. Obviously, I say week 2 because that's when they played South Dakota State, so I obviously probably should say since week 3. So since week 3, after week 2, nobody has scored over 17 points, and they're averaging 44 points a game. Just really, really good. Just phenomenal football. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about this Montana State team. They got UC Davis this week. I will be previewing that game on Thursday. But they look really good. There's nothing you really can say about this team negative. They look really, really good. And they're hitting their stride at the right time. Now, obviously, they're playing against lesser competition. My eyes will be glued to the screen against that UC Davis game on ESPN2. I cannot wait. It's going to be very exciting. But you guys let me know what you think about Montana State in the comment section down below, and I will move on. From first downs to forever. If you met your girl tailgating or cheering under those Friday night lights, L&M Fine Jewelry is your next winning play. Engagement rings, custom designs, and timeless Montana craftsmanship, because your love story deserves a ring as legendary as your team. Located on American Way in Missoula and Main Street in Kalispell, L&M Fine Jewelry is the official jeweler of Akem'S Analysis and the Samuel Akem YouTube channel. Make sure when you guys are looking for that special ring for that special person, you guys let L&M Fine Jewelry be your choice. L&M Fine Jewelry, your diamond destination. Okay, UC Davis versus Idaho, man. A really exciting game. UC Davis jumped out to a really big lead on the Vandals, and then Idaho kind of started to battle back in the second half, but you just got to play it. I mean, first off, you can't let a team get a big 28-point lead on you, and then when and if that happens, you got to be clean. You have to be extremely clean. I mean, because let's think about it. Caden Pinnock threw 2 interceptions in this game. I mean, he was trying to give you guys an opportunity, but he also had 4 touchdowns. I mean, Caden Pinnock is such a confusing player for me because he is so freaking good passing the ball. He throws a beautiful ball. He's getting better and better, but at the same time, it's like he's still a freshman, and you see that from him, which is okay. I mean, freshmen aren't perfect. Freshmen make mistakes. Freshmen don't play clean ball all the time, and that's why I think if you believe you have a freshman who can do it, which is why I don't understand why at Eastern Washington, this is a little caveat from the UC Davis conversation. I don't know why, if you're Eastern Washington, if you saw that from Jake Skakel, why is he just now starting? Because him developing for a full year and eventually being your starter is ultimately going to benefit you more than starting Nate Bell or starting Jared Taylor and then throwing Jake Skakel in week 10, week 11, whatever. I mean, Caden Pinnock, I love what they've been doing with him. I think he's going to be a really great player if he's able to stay in the Big Sky Conference. UC Davis dumped out to a big lead in the first half and made it hard for Idaho to claw back. I mean, I think if Joshua Wood and them would have started that comeback late in the second half or at the beginning of the third quarter, we would have been talking about a different game. But, a couple interceptions, things weren't pretty. That's how it happens. Idaho was able to battle back in the fourth quarter, but they weren't able to do enough to come away with the victory. Why am I putting these same things on here? UC Davis has an extremely potent offense, but when their defense is able to play at a high level, they can be really good. And I think that's something that we saw a little bit yesterday. That offense of Idaho is not inept. They got a really good quarterback in Joshua Wood who can run the ball and throw the ball. I wish he would be better at his downfield passing game. It showed up a little bit for us for him yesterday, which I was really excited to see. But it needs to be consistent. If they want to win at a high level, he's got to be consistent with that. But they were able to stop. I mean, Elisha Cummings, one of the best playmakers in the Big Sky Conference, they were able to slow him down. Joshua Wood, they were able to slow him down. Now, one thing that you do want to mention when you mention this Idaho team is they are dealing with receiver injuries. I mean, Tony Harsty, I don't think played yesterday. Ryan Jasaro was up and down in the lineup yesterday because he was getting beat up in the game. And then also they're missing Cortez Minjiver. They're missing 2 of their top receivers to start the season, 2 really, really good players. And, it's impossible to see how that doesn't affect their passing game. So I don't want to be oblivious to that fact. Joshua Wood impressed me with his with some of the big downfield passes he completed. This will be the next step in his development to take his game to the next level. I've mentioned that for a couple of weeks now. UC Davis has the toughest last 2 games of the season in the Big Sky Conference. I mean, the Montana State in Bozeman, and then they finish at home against Sacramento State. That is a tough finish to the season. Both of these games will ultimately determine UC Davis's playoff fate, and that is facts, man. That is facts. UC Davis has to be good in these games. They got to win to make the playoffs. I think they got to win 1 out of 2 to make the playoffs. I think ideally they should really win both of them. But if they want to make the playoffs, they at least got to win one of them. I don't know if it's Montana State or Sacramento State. I think Sacramento State versus UC Davis is going to be for a playoff spot. I mean, obviously that's not how that's not how it works. The committee is picking the playoff spots, but I think whoever wins, whether UC Davis beats Montana State or not, I think whoever wins Sac State versus UC Davis, that team will make the playoffs. The loser will not make the playoffs. It's exactly what happened to Montana and Montana State in 2018. We didn't know it at the time, but we lost that game in 2018 to Montana State at home, and Montana State ended up making the playoffs. So, I mean, that's just how it works out these days. Samuel Batu Jr. has been a consistent playmaker for Tim Plow and the freshman QB, Payton. Batu is the exact type of wide receiver you want to have when you have a young quarterback. I think when you have a young quarterback like Payton, you just need that one player who is that saving grace. They're going to be the calming factor. You know they're always going to be open. You know when you throw the ball to them, they're going to make the plays. A young quarterback needs a player like that. For Ayat, he's a sophomore. He's still young. He's got Michael Wortham. For I don't even know who I would say the buddy at Eastern Washington, Skakel, has. But I'm trying to think of some of the young quarterbacks. Jordan Cook, I don't know if he's super young. I think he might be a sophomore, maybe a junior. But Jordan Cook has he has Nunley and he has Shulikov. Even Justin Lamson, he's got Taco Dowler. He's got the tight ends. I mean, you need when you got a young quarterback, you need a veteran receiver who can be that leveling force. And Samuel Batu is that 100% for Payton. I love what Batu's done this year. They've really used him in the offense really well. Jordan Fisher continues to perform week in and week out. I mean, another leveling force, a good running back, a good receiver. And that's the thing that I love about this situation with Payton is because he's got such a good situation around him. Like, one of the worst things you can do for a quarterback is stick him in a shitty situation. Excuse my language, but the worst thing you can do for a young quarterback is throw him into an already shitty situation. And back to the Eastern Washington point, maybe that's why they didn't thrust Skakel into the starting position, because they understood, hey, this situation around him is not very good. But I mean, given what Skakel did yesterday, he showed that it doesn't matter what's around him. He is good enough to make the players. He's going to elevate the players around him. And man, I'm just so sold by Jake Skakel from yesterday. I think he's going to have a bright future. I DM'd him actually yesterday and was like, hey man, like, you are going to be really good. I loved what you did yesterday. Phenomenal game, man. Keep your head high, like all that stuff. But last point I want to make on this UC Davis game, despite missing some of their players in the passing game, Michael Graves showed up in a big way and was able to make plays for Joshua Wood. Michael Graves yesterday, 3 receptions, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, 37 yards of reception. Phenomenal. I didn't mention Joshua Wood's stats, and I want to mention Batu. So Batu was 7 for 110, 1 touchdown. He also had a carry for 4 carries for 44 yards. Jordan Fisher, 21 carries, 103 yards. He averaged 4.9 yards a carry. He also had a 32-yard reception. Joshua Wood was 20 for 38, 53%. So the two things, I know the players don't listen to me. They probably don't watch my videos, but the two coaching points I got for Joshua Wood this offseason, downfield passing game and the accuracy. You guys need to be in the indoor and the Kibbe Dome every 3-4 times a week, throwing routes with your receivers. You're going to be a good player. You have a lot of talent. You got to clean up the efficiency. You got to clean up the downfield passing. Once you do that, I think you are going to be an absolute problem for the Big Sky Conference. He did have an interception late in the game when they were in the red zone. That was super detrimental as well. It was a pick six, but it got called back because unexplainably one of his players took off their helmet. What are you doing? What are you doing? I have no idea, but what are you doing? Anyway, Good game from UC Davis. They get the victory. They move on to play Montana State in Bozeman on Saturday on ESPN2. That is going to be an exciting game. The last regular season game in the Big Sky Conference. That's on ESPN2. So make sure you guys tap into that. And you guys let me know what you think. Leave me a comment down below what you thought about this UC Davis versus Idaho game. And I will move on. Okay. North Dakota State versus North Dakota, man. I'm starting to get worried about Akem'S, and I know I'm almost certain he's a sophomore, so he's still a young player, and he still has a ton of time to improve. But this is now back-to-back games where I would say a lot of the responsibility of his team taking a loss falls directly on the lap of Jared Kaminsky. And I got a lot of love for him. I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's shown a lot this year. I mean, leading this team to where they are right now. But I mean, you look at this North Dakota team, they haven't beat anybody. They've lost to everybody of status. They lost to South Dakota, who's looking really good now. We'll talk about them later. We're talking about them in the next segment. They lost to South Dakota. They lost to Montana. Now they lost to North Dakota State. I mean, 3 of the marquee games on your calendar, on your schedule, you lost them all. Unexplainable. I mean, you can't do that, man. You cannot do that. You have to win the games that matter. If anything, you need to win the games that matter, and that's something that we haven't seen from North Dakota this year. And it just goes back to the point I've continued to make and the point that their coach made, Eric Schmidt. You can't say we got to be better anymore. You have to be better. You lost this game by 5 in a game that you 100% could have, and I would say should have won. I mean, inexplainable, man. You can't lose it. North Dakota, for the second week in a row, made too many mistakes in this game and rightfully lost. NDSU has shown in back-to-back weeks that they can be beat, and I think that's another big point about this game against North Dakota. North Dakota State in 2 weeks against Youngstown State and now against North Dakota has shown that if you play, but that's the thing, is like, they can be beat, but you also have to play a good game. You can't kick it around, throw 3 interceptions and think, oh yeah, we're going to beat North Dakota State. No, you also have to play a pretty clean game yourself to beat this North Dakota State team. Yes, they're going to give you opportunities. Yes, they are not perfect, but at the same token, like, you have to be pretty damn perfect because they are that good. They are good defensively. They are good offensively. They got a good quarterback. They got a good running back. They got a good receiver. They got good offense. All of it. Whatever you want to say, they're good at it. But they are not perfect. They will mess up. They have shown that in the last 2 weeks. They can mess up. They can be beat. But you have to take it from them. They're not going to give it to you. You have to take it. And North Dakota didn't take it. Youngstown State didn't take it. Too many mistakes, both back-to-back weeks where they had the opportunity and they didn't capitalize on it. This is exactly the type of game I expected to see. Dominant defense from both teams. Every yard was earned, not given. The game was played heavily in the trenches. The run game, I mean, trying to run the ball. Both teams consistently trying to run the ball. Kind of even with the passing and the rushing. Both teams had about, I think North Dakota had like 150. Maybe North Dakota State had 150 on the ground, 160 on the ground. But either way, big throws were magnified in a game like this. This is the second, I already mentioned that about Jared Kaminsky. This is a point I did want to bring up about Kaminsky, though. This is the second week in a row where I would say Jared Kaminsky's play might have cost his team massively. And I don't say that to be harsh. And yes, he is a young player, but at some point he has to show up when the moment is the biggest. And that is the biggest point for me right now about Jared Kaminsky. I know he's a young player and he's going to continue to improve, and this North Dakota team is going to be fine with him at quarterback. I believe that. But you think about the Montana game, 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. You continue to get off the field for whatever reason, whether you're missing throws, whether you're not getting it in the run game, whatever happened, your team wasn't able to make the plays in the end to get your team over the hump. You think about the South Dakota game, got down early. You're down 26-21 late in the game. You're unfortunately not able to make the plays to get your team into the end zone. North Dakota State, same thing. You're just not able to, at some point in his development, the next step for Jared Kaminsky is for him to start to make the plays when the plays are needed. You need to play your best when your best is necessary. And that's the development step for Jared Kaminsky. Cole Payton probably had his worst game as a thrower of the football in this game. He was 8 for 15, 53% completion percentage. I don't think we've seen under 60% for Cole Payton this season. 125 yards and interception. He also had 16 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown on 4.3 yards a carry. So he was still productive. Only one touchdown on the day, but they got the win, so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's all that matters. Did you win or did you lose? Did you win or did you lose? They won 15-10. I don't care what the final score is. That's why with the 24-23 victory that Montana had, they won, man. They won. NDSU is the only team in the NBFC who has been able to survive the gauntlet, and because of that, they will end up with the best resume in the country, 100%. I mean, they beat a ranked Youngstown State. They beat a ranked North Dakota. They beat a ranked South Dakota State. They beat a ranked Southern Illinois. They beat a ranked Illinois State. That's, what did I just rattle off? SDSU, North Dakota, Southern Illinois, Youngstown State, UND, Southern Illinois, South Dakota State, Youngstown State, and I think they got a couple more on their schedule. They might play South Dakota or something, but Their resume looks flawless. And I said Illinois State. So that's 5 ranked wins on their schedule, 5 ranked wins on their resume right now. And I think all teams are still ranked. I think all 5 teams are still ranked. So, I mean, this North Dakota State team is really good, man. It's really good. I don't have much more to say. I think it was a phenomenal win by North Dakota State. When you're a team like North Dakota State, you win games like this. When you're a national championship contender, when you're a conference champ, when you're one of the best teams in the nation, you win these games. And that's what they did. So you guys let me know in the comments what you thought about the victory from North Dakota State. Leave me a comment down below, and I will move on. Okay, South Dakota State versus South Dakota. Oh man, South Dakota State. I just feel for this team because obviously, you know, they weren't perfect. I don't think anybody from the Jackrabbits or anybody in South Dakota, in Brookings, South Dakota, would say that this team was perfect even before Chase Mason had got hurt. But I think it's just crazy that they look so much different after Chase Mason. Not only offensively, but defensively. They haven't been the same team defensively since Chase Mason has been down. And maybe you can say, oh, maybe that's because the defense have been on the field more. Maybe, you know, their drives haven't gone as long, so the defense has spent more time on the field, therefore conceding more points. I don't know, but this team has looked not even the same without Chase Mason in the lineup. Not even the same. And I think you start to ask now, should there be worry that this South Dakota State team may not make the playoffs? I mean, at this point, they've been stuck at 7 wins for the last 3 weeks. They lost a winnable game against Indiana State. Now they lost a winnable game against South Dakota. There's a real conversation that should be had about South Dakota as well. They're looking like a playoff team. Sam Herder posted it this morning. He posted like all the 5 or 6 resumes from the playoff teams. Potential playoff teams in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And man, that was one of my talking points before I even saw Sam Herder's post about it. But there are some real contenders in the Missouri Valley, and it's getting thick. And there's like the last 2 weeks where there's some ranked matchups in that, where there's some conference matchups that are really going to decide a lot of it. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But South Dakota State, I think there's a real conversation to be had now of if they're going to be a playoff team, because they play Illinois State next week. Not easy game. The Illinois State is a potential playoff team as well. And then they finish the season off with North Dakota. And if North Dakota doesn't do anything else, they have to win one of their last 2 games. They must, man. If they don't, they're not going to make the playoffs. They will not be in the playoffs. North Dakota is stuck at 6 wins right now. They've lost back-to-back games against South Dakota. Now they lost against North Dakota State. I mean, it's starting to get thick in the Missouri Valley. That's the point of this conversation right now. South Dakota is slowly building a very quality playoff resume. They now have ranked wins against North Dakota and South Dakota State in back-to-back weeks. It's impossible to deny what South Dakota has done, man. USD started the season off extremely slow, and it may have been a chemistry thing based on all the players they lost in the winter and spring transfer portal. The spring transfer portal window, when they lost 3 starting linemen, might have been the most detrimental. And I think that's the biggest point about this South Dakota team right now, and I think that should be the conversation about them, is obviously they started the season slow. I think they were really hurt by that spring transfer portal window. I think Karan Adams left in the spring window, and I know for a fact they lost those 3 linemen in that spring transfer portal window. But I mean, like, I think that's the biggest point about where South Dakota is right now, why they started the season off so slow, and why they are where they are now. I mean, they look really decent now. They look like a quality football team where if anybody were to walk in and beat that South Dakota team now, I would say that's a quality win. Maybe early on in the season, I was like, South Dakota's not that good. Like, I stopped ranking them in like week 2, week 3 because they just looked that bad. But they ended up cleaning things up. They look much better now. And I think it's impossible to deny that, you know, if they were able to string together a couple of wins these last couple of weeks, that they're not a playoff team. What would they be? I think they'd be 8-4 to finish the season with 2 really good ranked wins against North Dakota, South Dakota State. I think they could potentially get another one in these last 2 weeks. They're looking good, man. Now that USD has been able to get their chemistry down, they look like a dangerous team for anyone they play. Is SDSU on the verge of not making the playoffs this year? We talked about that. They will not have a playoff team. They will not be a playoff team if they lose their final 2 games. Illinois State and Brookings, and then they go to North Dakota. SDSU had a big turnover in the game, and with how they have played their last 3 games, they can't afford to turn the ball over. I mean, that is where you're at with the South Dakota State team. Their offense right now is not good enough for them to gift possessions to other teams. They're just not. They're not explosive enough. They're not putting the ball in the end zone enough. They're not running the ball well enough. The South Dakota State offense is not good enough right now to give other teams free possessions. You can't do it. You absolutely cannot do it. And that's what happened yesterday, and they lost by a possession. It has been sink or swim in the Missouri Valley this season. They are absolutely beating up on each other, except for North Dakota State, of course. Last thing we'll look at before we move on is the South Dakota State, the statistics. So Aiden Bauman was 14 for 21, 67% completion percentage. He threw for 158 yards and a touchdown. LJ Phillips, my good. I mean, I'm just, what the hell is in the water in Vermilion, man? Charles Pierre Jr., Travis Tice. Now you got LJ Phillips. Was LJ Phillips there last year? Did you have all three of these guys in the exact same offense? I'm baffled. 27 carries, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6.2 yards a carry. Mind you, LJ Phillips did not start every game this season. I don't think he was the day one starter. I think Charles Pierre Jr. was the day one starter and LJ Phillips was the backup who would rotate in. LJ Phillips is over like 1,200 yards on the season. That's all I'm going to say about that. Lorenzo Fenner has had 2 back-to-back really good weeks. He had 4 receptions yesterday, 68 yards, and a phenomenal touchdown. On the South Dakota State side of things, Jack Henry was 13 for 24, which is 54% completion percentage, 139 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jack Smith, who I haven't heard of this year, number 19 at South Dakota State, he had 6 receptions, 61 yards, 10.2 yards a catch. And then on the other side of things, on the running game, he had 3 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged 27.3 yards a carry. So they got some pieces there, but South Dakota State is beat up a little bit too because I believe Lothridge has not played. He's been up and down. He got hurt in the North Dakota State game which was his first game back after being injured, and now he's injured again. So, I mean, Lofton Ogroski has been down. did I say Julius Lothridge? I meant Lofton Ogroski. Lofton Ogroski has been down. Chase Mason has been down, and I don't know. There's just questions around the Jackrabbits. There's a lot of questions around the Jackrabbits right now, and I don't know if they're a lock for the playoffs, man. I don't know. It doesn't look good right now. You guys let me know what you thought about the South Dakota State game down below, and I will move on. Okay, the last big game we're going to talk about before we get to the no-huddle notes is Mercer versus Western Carolina. Mercer got the victory 49-47. My goodness. And you guys, if you watch my preview, you know what I said about this game. I said the only chance Western Carolina had to win this game was to make it a freaking shootout. And they did that. I mean, Teron Dickens, I don't have anything else. I don't have any other questions. I know for the last few weeks, the last couple of months, actually, I've been saying I got questions about Teron Dickens. They're doing it against lesser competition. He's really good. Is it empty stats? You know, they're not winning games really easily with how good he is. I don't care about whatever I was saying. That doesn't matter anymore. Teron Dickens, I have been reluctant, but boy, you are different. Let me read the stat line to you real quick. 33 of 49, 67% completion percentage, 551 yards, 7, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 passing touchdowns. Makes me disgusted that they lost this game. Mercer wins a shootout against Western Carolina to clinch the SoCon auto bid. Mercer's playoff hopes are locked down. But with Mercer's playoff hopes being locked down, does that mean the SoCon is a 1 playoff bid league? Let's look at the numbers from the SoCon, the top 3 teams outside of Mercer in the SoCon. Does the Western Carolina loss to Mercer make the SoCon a 1 big league this season for the playoffs? Best teams in the SoCon outside of Mercer. Western Carolina is 6-4, 5-1 in conference play. I don't have their ranked wins and all that stuff. Chattanooga is 5-5, 4-2 in conference play. At best, they can finish 7-5. At best, Western Carolina can finish 8-4. So they may be a playoff team, maybe. And then East Tennessee State is 5-5, 3-3 in conference play. So I think you knock Chattanooga, even if they win both their last 2 games, Chattanooga and East Tennessee State, they're finishing 7-5 at best. They're not playoff teams, unfortunately. I don't think so right now. Western Carolina has potential, but I don't know, man. Mercer might have just knocked the last team out of playoff contention out of the SoCon. I mean, they might have done it. I mean, that might have been the nail in the coffin for the SoCon being a 2-bid league. It's tough. I think right now I'd say more so that the Pioneer may be a two-bid league over the SoCon. And the Pioneer has a win over the SoCon as well. The Pioneer League actually has a win over the SoCon champion. So, I mean, I've seen Reddit talk about it on Twitter as well, Reddit FCS, and I can't say I disagree with them. I mean, the fact that the SoCon lost to not even the top team in the Pioneer. They lost to Presbyterian, who lost yesterday and lost 2 weeks ago. Maybe 2 weeks ago. I think they lost 2 weeks ago. So they got 2 losses in Pioneer League play. They lost to a 1-8 Davidson team yesterday. Can't happen. And Mercer lost to that team. So I don't know, man. It's hard to say that Reddit FCS doesn't know what they're talking about. If Teron Dickens isn't a Walter Payton Award finalist, we need to throw the whole award away. I know I've been one of the people that's been on the fence about Teron Dickens. Are they empty calories? Is he really that explosive? Yes. Everything you want to say, yes. He's that. He's that for real. He's that boy for real. For real. His team may be a bubble playoff team, but damn, he has been playing amazing QB this season. 7 TDs is absolutely ridiculous. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a couple of touchdowns. What are we talking about? This man is a freaking monster right now. Mercer is one of the top rushing teams in the country for rushing defense teams in the country. They forced Teron Dickens to throw the ball, and he delivered in every way. And that was really one of the things. Mercer was allowing 76 yards on average on the ground coming into this game, and I think they only allowed like 48 from Western Carolina. So the ground game, maybe even less than that, but the ground game was not there for Western Carolina. Absolutely was not there. But, I mean, a lot of times you say with quarterbacks like this, make them one-dimensional. Make them throw the ball 60 times. See if they can hang with us. They damn near were able to hang, my man. They were almost there. They were almost right there. I think Western Carolina or Mercer won on a game-winning field goal. But my goodness, man, Teron Dickens, yo, I am a fan. I am an actual fan. Mercer's defense is like the Spider-Man meme looking at Montana's defense. Good against the run, but terrible against the pass. If you guys have watched any Montana football, they are the same. Only 48 yards rushing for West Carolina, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's crazy that you only have 48 yards of rushing on the ground, and you still almost won the game. You had the lead in the fourth quarter. I mean, crazy. But obviously no defense was played in this game. Mercer coming into this game had one of the top defenses in the country. Got to believe their average is going to be way, way up after this game. I mean, you gave up 47 to a maybe potential bubble playoff team. I don't know. I mean, Mercer's good. Mercer's not great. Mercer will be a second round playoff team exit. They may be a quarterfinal team at best, but I don't see Mercer getting any further past that. It's no indictment against Mercer, but you just look at how they've played. They almost lost to UC Davis. That game was obviously canceled. They lost to Presbyterian, who's in a Pioneer League, where the Pioneer probably won't have a team make it past the second round either. Unfortunately, the Pioneer they're a non-scholarship league. They're not going to be able to get top tier talent in the Pioneer, unfortunately. And yeah, so Mercer's good. They're not great. And they're not a contender at all. I'm sorry if any Mercer fans think that you're going to the national championship. You are not. I'm sorry to break the news to you. I hope I'm not breaking news right now, but I'm sorry. Braden Atkinson of Mercer, 23 of 39, 59% completion percentage, 443 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. CJ Miller, 21 carries, 91 yards, 3 touchdowns his damn self. Agitate Dabs, 4 receptions, 147 yards, 1 touchdown, 36.8 yards a catch. And then on the Western Carolina side of things, Malik Knight, 5 receptions, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, just some phenomenal performances from everybody involved in this game. Beautiful football being played. I am just so amazed by this game, man. Just genuinely amazed. What an amazing football game. You guys let me know what you think about Mercer. You guys let me know what you think about Western Carolina in the comment section down below, and I will move on. Okay, no huddle notes. No huddle notes. First things first, what I want to talk about in no huddle notes, New Hampshire upsets Monmouth on the road, 34-13. What a phenomenal win for New Hampshire. And at the end of this, we're going to talk about, at the end of No Huddle Notes, we're going to talk about how the playoff field is getting really thick. The CAA is part of that. New Hampshire's in there. They just got a ranked win against Monmouth. Rhode Island is in there. Maine is up there at the top of the CAA. There's another team that I'm forgetting. Villanova is up there in the CAA as well. I mean, the CAA is getting thick, and I think they're looking like a 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 4 bid league this year. Maybe just 3. Maybe even 2. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the point. Is it's getting thick. It's getting thick in the CAA. It's getting thick in the CAA. The loss of Derek Robertson has proven to be detrimental for the top-ranked Hawks. New Hampshire has lost all their close games, but this is a big win for a team that may be a bubble team. You look at New Hampshire's schedule; they've lost basically every big game that they had on their calendar, and obviously they're dealing with a hurt Monmouth team who obviously is missing Derek Robertson. But the fact that they were able to get the win, credit to them. New Hampshire is quietly looking like a potential playoff team this season. There are like 4 to 5 teams in the CAA who could potentially be playoff teams. It looks thick, and like I'm saying about the playoff field, the committee is going to have a hard decision to make come in 2 weeks, come this day 2 weeks, because there's a lot of teams who could potentially fit in they fit right there within the playoff structure where they could fit into they could be a playoff team. But we will see. There's obviously a couple of weeks to go. So you guys let me know what you thought about the New Hampshire game versus Monmouth. Beau Brungard, and why Youngstown State defeats Southern Illinois at home 48-38. Beau Brungard, the record isn't great, but Beau Brungard should be in Nashville in January. I just think he needs to be there. Even if you're not going to give it to him because his team's not winning, even if you're going to give it to Teron Dickens, even if you're going to give it to Cole Payton, I think Beau Brungard should be there. I think he should be there. He deserves that. This man has played phenomenal football, man. And I posted the numbers on Twitter last week. Dude is top 5 in the country in rushing as a quarterback. Top 5. And he's top 20 in passing in the country. I mean, yo, this dude is playing amazing. Yesterday, 26-35, 74% completion percentage, 345 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. He also had 15 carries, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16.6 yards a carry. I don't know if that's correct. 16.6 yards a carry? Maybe that might be right. Who cares? Who cares? 6 touchdowns, 449 total yards, 6 total touchdowns. Beau Brungard, man, you just like I said about Teron Dickens, I am a fan. You are balling. Southern Illinois has some huge games to finish the season, and they need to make sure they are locked in or they will also fall on the playoff bubble. Not good for Southern Illinois. Youngstown State continues to be a dangerous team for anyone who's on their schedule. Youngstown State, this might be a surprise for a lot of you. Maybe some of you guys understand this. Maybe some of you guys don't. Youngstown State would beat a lot of top teams in the country, and I think the list is larger than you think. I think if you put Youngstown State against a lot of these top 15 teams, top 10 teams in the country, there's not many teams that I say would walk out with a victory against Youngstown State. And I'm not going to go down the list of listing who I think Youngstown State would beat, but I think the list is pretty extensive. Pretty extensive. And I'm going to leave it at that. You guys let me know what you thought about the Youngstown State victory at home against Southern Illinois, and I'll move on. Lamar wins big-time Southland Conference matchup over SELA after UIW lost last week 14-12. So they won the game 14-12 against SELA, a defensive battle, a really important Southland Conference game that has a lot riding on it. Lamar was able to win a close game at home. Lamar took a lead early in the game, and they held on to win it in the end. So if Lamar beats, this is my question, and this is why I was saying it's a thick Southland Conference, that game mattered a lot. So if Lamar beats Stephen F. Austin next week, and all teams finish 7-1, who will get the auto bid out of the Southland Conference? That's my question. And this scenario, and in this scenario, all 3 teams will make the playoffs. Right? I mean, if all 3 teams finish at 7-1, they're probably, 10-2 football teams or 9-3 football teams at worst. They all got to make the playoffs, right? They have to. I think they have to. I mean, I think SELA, I don't know, because SELA, they don't have any quality wins. And when they had their opportunity to get a quality win, they lost to Lamar. So it's like you start to question SELA. I think Stephen F. Austin is the best team out of that Southland now. I think you can say, but they're going to play. And that's the biggest thing. Lamar and Stephen F. Austin play this week. If Stephen F. Austin wins, they take that discussion off the table. They're going to win the Southland Conference title, and they're going to be the auto bid out of the Southland Conference. But if Lamar wins, and all teams win in week 11, week 13, 14, whatever it is, week 13, then that brings up a very interesting conversation. But we will see, obviously. We will see. But man, the Southland is getting exciting. Things in the South, football all across the country is getting exciting, but right now in the Southland, it's a thick race right now. SELA really needed that win yesterday, but I think Lamar needed that win worse. Lamar did need that win worse than SELA. SELA can afford a loss because Lamar already has a loss, and now they're hoping that Lamar can beat Stephen F. Austin to give everybody one loss in the conference play, and we'll roll the dice from there. But you guys let me know what you think about Lamar and SELA. You guys let me know what you think about the Southland Conference, and what do you think about, Lamar? There potentially being a 3-way tie in the Southland. If anybody has an answer on how the tiebreaker would be decided, is it a coin flip? Do they go on, win margin? Do they go, how do they decide that? You guys let me know. Strength of schedule. I know there's a lot of different measures that different conferences use to decide the tiebreaker, but somebody I'm sure is smart enough who watches this who can let me know. I'll move on. Drake loses first Pioneer League game to St. Thomas 20-13. Drake, this is crazy about the Pioneer League conference, and it's just, Drake has just been the mainstay in the Pioneer League for whatever reason. They just always win the most games. They end up getting the AQ out of the Pioneer League, and they just float along. Drake still controls their own destiny in the Pioneer after Presbyterian took a loss against Davidson on Saturday. If Drake is going to be the AQ out of the Pioneer and St. Thomas also beat them, does that mean St. Thomas has a chance to make the playoffs? I don't think you can definitively rule out St. Thomas, especially if they win out. I don't think you can rule out St. Thomas. They beat the winner out of the Pioneer. They just unfortunately have more losses than Drake and the Pioneer. So these are the type of questions you start to ask at this point in the season. 100%. 100%. Drake, you always find a way, don't you? You always find a way to get into the dance. You need to find a way to stay in the dance now. We got to get some wins. Let's string some wins together, Drake. But I don't know. I mean, can you say that St. Thomas isn't going to be in the playoffs? I mean, as a committee member, how do you not consider them? That's a ranked. Drake is Drake even ranked? I don't think Drake's even ranked. But that's like a pseudo ranked win, kind of. I mean, that's a good team. Drake is a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. That's a good win for St. Thomas. That's a good win for St. Thomas. But I don't know. It's just crazy to think that Drake can take a loss, their first loss late in the season in week 11. And, a lot of teams, that would maybe knock them down a notch on whether they can win their conference, get into the playoffs or not. And Drake, it doesn't matter. They are the standard in the Missouri Valley, in the Pioneer League. They are the standard. They are the class of the Pioneer League. So come correct when you face off against Drake. They got a couple of games to finish the season, but I don't think they have any tough games on their schedule. But obviously, people bump their head late in the season always. So they are the mark. They got one loss in conference play, so they're the team to beat, and we will see. Lastly, Sacramento State and NAU both look like potential playoff teams. Sac State has continued to look super dominant on the offensive side of the ball, but can they do it against the best teams in the country? And that's the question for Sac State, because they beat up on, they absolutely dominate lesser competition. Dominate them. But then they play the Montana States. No, they didn't even play Montana State. But they play the UC Davis. They haven't even played UC Davis. Who did they lose? They lost to Cal Poly. They play Cal Poly, inexplicable loss. They play South Dakota State. They lost. Nevada, inexplicable loss. They play Montana. I wouldn't say inexplicable. Montana looked like the better team in that game. They won by 2 touchdowns, but also they bit themselves in the foot a ton in that game. Just some bad ball played by South Dakota, some by Sacramento State. Not clean ball played. They had a lot of penalties, and you can't have that. But Sac State is a good football team. They're going to be a problem for anybody, but they got to do it against good competition. That's the main thing. But I think Sacramento State, damn, they could be a playoff team, man. NAU has looked dominant, has also looked dominant against lesser competition, but whenever they need to win, get big games, they have come up short. That is the conversation about NAU this season, man. They've come up short against all the biggest teams. They look good offensively against everybody else, but then when it's tough competition, NAU can't string together. They can't do anything. They can't help themselves out. Lack of ranked wins may be the downfall for both of these teams' playoff chances. With 8 wins, both teams will have compelling cases, but I don't know if they're overwhelming cases. It would really be nice if one of these teams were ending up with 9 wins. But 8 wins, unfortunately, for both of them at best to end the season. And that's if Sac State is able to beat UC Davis. Sac State has to beat UC Davis to even have this to be a chance. NAU, I think, on the other end of things, I think they play some cupcakes these last couple of weeks. But Sac State definitely need to finish the season strong. And but hey, their playoff case is there. If they can get into the playoffs there last year in the FCS, that'll be the best for Sac State. They really need to do that, but we will see. So you guys let me know what you think about Sac State and NAU. Are they playoff teams for you? Do you think they get in? Do you think what do you think? As the playoffs gets closer, more and more teams are starting to put their full resumes together, and the field is getting a bit thick of who may be playoff worthy and eligible. The CAA, as I said, the CAA has about 4 or 5 teams. The Big Sky Conference is going to end up having about 3 or 4 teams that could really make the playoffs. I think it's really going to be 4. But there could be maybe 5 teams that potentially have playoff-worthy resumes with just wins. Maybe not quality wins, strength of schedule, all that stuff, but just based on wins. There's going to be about 4 or 5 teams in the Big Sky Conference who have a chance. The Missouri Valley is looking like they're going to have 5 or 6 teams. The UAC, I think, is a 1-2 max team league, but the Southland Conference is looking like 3 teams are going to be worthy of being playoff eligible. The SoCon, 2 to 3 teams. The NEC, 1 team. The Southland, I mentioned the Southland. The SoCon is looking. The Southland is looking like a 3-team league. The SoCon is looking like a 1, maybe 2-team league. And yeah, the field is getting thick. The Patriot is only going to have 1. It's going to be Lehigh. Anybody else in that conference is not getting into the playoffs. It's just getting thick. And then the Big South OVC, I think they're going to be 1. Tennessee Tech is going to be the only team out of that league to make the playoffs. But it's getting thick. It's getting exciting. There's a lot of good football being played. And man, this is the best time of the year. Playoffs, football that matters. You know, there's no game on the schedule that you can just sleep on. Every game matters. Every opponent matters. And it's just amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait to see how it finishes up. So you guys let me know what you thought about the No Huddle Notes. Let me know about some of the topics I brought up. Beau, Brungard, New Hampshire, Lamar, the Southland Conference, Drake, and then Sac State and NAU. You guys let me know what you think about all of it, and I will move on. Okay, I want to thank you guys so much for tapping into another Akem'S analysis. I love talking about FCS football. It's been an amazing season. I cannot believe we are about to be in week 12. What? Is that not crazy? Week 12? Crazy. My subscribers have been growing, and that's all because of you guys. So once again, as always, I appreciate you guys so much for the support. Continue to support the channel. Continue to support Sportsbet Montana. Continue to support L&M Fine Jewelry. They have been my phenomenal sponsors for this football season, and I thank them so much for working with me. It's going to be a continued amazing playoffs, and it's going to be an amazing end of the season. You guys let me know if there's anything. If you guys want to do a mailbag, if you guys feel like you guys got something to say and you guys want me to talk about it, you guys want me to ask some questions. I don't do mailbags ever. I used to do them a little bit last year, but I really stopped just because like I forget to ask on the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, on Saturday nights, and then I start recording early Sunday mornings. So it's just the logistics things. But if that's something you guys want me to do, I can ask on Saturday night for some questions, and I can have you guys send them in. But more than anything, thank you so much for the support. My channel has grown so much this fall. I can't explain it to you guys. It's been phenomenal. You know, I've changed up some of my dropping habits in terms of the videos I drop and everything like that. But the subscriber base has grown a ton, and that's all because of you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for the support. If you feel like I'm too hard on a player, let me know. If you feel like I'm too hard on a team, if I feel like you're being soft, I'll tell you. But if you think I'm being too hard, I feel like I'm not above reproach. I'm not above, being talked. I mean, just let me know. Just let me know. I feel like at times, I think back to some of the things I say, and I'm like, man, like maybe I was too hard. So if you guys feel like I'm too hard, let me know in the comments, please, because I can be a little out. I can be a little blasphemous sometimes as well. But I appreciate you guys tapping in. This video has been brought to you by Sportsbet Montana, the exclusive sports betting partner of Akem'S Analysis and the Samuel Akem YouTube channel. They are also the exclusive sports book of the state of Montana. So make sure when you're in the state of Montana, you're looking to make some bets on any of your favorite teams, go through Sportsbet Montana and let them give you those winning plays everywhere. So go check out Sportsbet Montana. They're the exclusive sports betting partner of Akem'S Analysis. I thank you guys so much for tapping into the channel. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave me a comment down below, and I will catch you guys next week. See you later.